welcome back to this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Nick Rohde. I am joined alongside my co-host London Beth, and today we're talking about a hot topic that's going around Bears Twitter, Chicago, everything, and it's kind of turned into a meme nationally as well. That topic is going off of last year's matchup against the LA Rams when Darnell Mooney cooked, and I mean absolutely cooked, fried, did everything, grilled, medium rare, medium well, however you like it, cooked Jalen Ramsey on a slant and go, but Nick Foles overthrew him. It blew up on Twitter last year. It blew up again this past weekend after Jalen Ramsey tweeted back and showed his frustration that he doesn't think that Darnell Mooney is a good wide receiver. So Bears fans, of course, defending our guys on the field, off the field, and especially on Twitter, have taken to Twitter, Wikipedia, and all other social media outlets to roast Jalen Ramsey for this play. He is known as Darnell Mooney's kid. He's going Father's Day shopping for Darnell Mooney. There is a bunch of memes. I'm sure you guys have seen them. We'll have them posted on Just Another Year Chicago or at Chicago Nick, at London E Beth, or at JC Tony. Tony cannot make it today. But with that, the LA Rams versus the Chicago Bears are week 1 this year, and we're already cooking up for this upcoming matchup. But before we begin going into this episode, London is going to take us into this week's sponsor.
Hey, everybody. So this week's episode is sponsored by Higher Level Camps, Inc. We are the longest running boys and girls AAU program in the Midwest. You can see it right behind here. Our sponsors do a great job, give us a lot of opportunities to not only grow this program, but also, to get out in the community and work with, all ages of boys and girls in AAU basketball in Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota, all over the place. So thank you to HLC, and thank you to the founder Cheryl Moore for that.
All right. Well, Higher Level Camp, stay tuned for them. Keep a lookout. Whenever you plan on having kids, or if you have kids, send them to Higher Level Camps for the best opportunity for basketball. But with that, going into today's episode, Darnell Mooney versus Jalen Ramsey. Who will win this matchup in week 1? And does Ramsey's defense on the pass still matter? Like, is he relevant against this Bears? Who's in each other's head more? Darnell Mooney is living rent free in Jalen Ramsey's head. So London, kind of take us through exactly the history of this exact beef right now.
Yeah, so the beef I think it kind of began a couple seasons ago from 2018 when we had that really good season. We've constantly over and over again, and I know we talked about this during the scheduling video, that we always have been playing the LA Rams on like big nights. Since 2018, we beat them pretty handily. And then 2019, we beat them. Last year, we got kind of clobbered by them. I don't think our team was very good, though. We just couldn't move the ball the whole 9 yards. So it's kind of becoming this little bit of a rivalry. Two great defenses, two, smart coaches, and two, kind of dynamic dynasty. Chicago, LA, it's a big market, and then it produces big players from Aaron Donald on LA to Khalil Mack on Chicago, from Jalen Ramsey to Eddie Jackson. It's kind of a great matchup defensively, and the thing is offensively though, it's been kind of a joke. It's been very low scoring, all that kind of stuff. So where did this beef come from? It started back last year when Nick Foles was starting for us against the LA Rams. He went out there. Darnell Mooney was a rookie. He was kind of starting to hit his stride a little bit. Everybody was like kind of putting him on notice. All of a sudden, he hits a stutter step on a slant, cuts it back for a slant and go, and was wide open. Jalen Ramsey jumped the route on the slant, predicting that Nick Foles wasn't going to throw that go route, which, to be completely honest, we'll go into it a little bit later. I think that was a great move on Jalen Ramsey's part because Nick Foles just couldn't throw the ball at all last year for God knows what reason. But anyway, Darnell Mooney hit him with the slant and go, absolutely cooked him. The throw was overthrown, went out of bounds, the whole 9 yards, but it kind of became a meme. Jalen Ramsey is known as that corner in the NFL that's, a top 3 corner, but really kind of lives and dies off his instant reactions. He's been burnt before. I mean, I think, Devontae Adams, the Green Bay Packers, kind of living in his head rent free after the NFC playoff game. And he just absolutely took him all over the place and, scored touchdowns on him. And you could see the frustration from Jalen Ramsey. So I don't think this is something new. The best part about it, and the reason why I think like who won this matchup, I'm going to give it to Darnell Mooney on just who won the matchup, because if you are a second receiver, rookie last year, first year, a little bit unproven, but kind of, that up and coming wide receiver in the league, that late round steal, and you're already getting in Jalen Ramsey's head, who was a first round pick, who has been a dynamic player on a Jaguars team, then on an LA Rams team. Like, that to me is like, man, is he kind of, do a lot of people kind of live in Jalen Ramsey's head rent free? I don't know, but I think so.
Yeah, I mean, like you totally hit the nail on the head there. And I think that, Jalen Ramsey has always had this kind of issue where he's the king of trash talk. People are like, Jalen Ramsey just knows how to speak on a field, knows how to get in your head, knows how to make you feel small. But the second you get in his head, it's kind of like Pennywise in like the movie It. The second you start messing with him personally, he's like, oh, I wasn't expecting this. This is not what I signed up for. I'm supposed to be doing this to you and only you. He's kind of like the high school girl that, dominates everybody. And then the second that, the quiet girl in the corner, spits something back at them, or the quiet guy spits to the big bully, he's like, oh my God, like this guy speaks, like that was a good comeback. Like, how do I handle this? I got to go with you. Darnell Mooney is winning right now, not only because Bears fans are backing him up, not only because NFL reporters are backing him up, but he's doing it with class. I mean, this guy is a young, entering his second year, and he's not even engaging in any of this. He's not liking any tweets. He's not making memes himself. He's not tweeting Ramsey. And that is something that, especially a guy around London and I's age, hasn't gained the maturity in the NFL in order to go out and do that. Still has kind of that college, high school mentality. Like, I need to be the alpha out of the gate. And Darnell Mooney is just laughing to the bank right now in regards to respect from the league. He is just sitting there going, I don't even have to do anything, because he just keeps destroying himself. So, Jalen Ramsey is obviously just on a whole nother level. And obviously the whole thing with the Jaguars and the drama, this guy loves drama. He thinks he's all that. And yes, he is a Pro Bowl corner. He's one of the best corners / DBs in the entire league. But, I don't think he's handling it as maturely as he could. But let's talk about maturity also really fast. Is that, are Bears fans taking this too far now? And I think that this is probably the key topic right now that I think is just so great. Bears fans are going to Wikipedia and switching, saying Darnell Mooney is Jalen Ramsey's father. They're going to Jalen Ramsey's page, switching it, saying that father Darnell Mooney. And again, this guy has been in the league not even half the time Ramsey's been. And Ramsey is just sitting at his house, or, pumping iron and like just, in full rage. And that he's going to come out and try to shut Bears fans up. He's going to go to Twitter if he does do it. But I don't think he will, because I think Darnell Mooney is just, the silent giant right now. And he's just kind of, putting in work. He's probably working out with, various different quarterbacks, getting stronger, getting faster. And he's going to plan the nastiest ankle breaker come Sunday Night Football week 1. But hats off to Bears fans for doing this, because Jalen Ramsey is completely rattled by the fan base of the Chicago Bears. And Bears Twitter accounts with no followers at all are rattling this guy's cage, and he's tweeting them. He's trying to defend himself. And when you're defending yourself against non-NFL reporters, you either have nothing else to do or you're just a whack job. So London, I know that you are loving what Bears Twitter is doing to this guy right now.
Yeah, I'm loving it. Do I think they're taking it too far? I mean, there is a certain point. I just saw right before we hopped on here on my phone that they went on to like the Minnesota Vikings, like official Wikipedia page, and put Darnell Mooney as the father of like the Minnesota Vikings. Like, there is a certain point where the Chicago Bear fan base is going to take this too far. Like, it was funny. We got a reaction on Darnell Mooney, and just everything with that, slant and go, got a reaction out of Jalen Ramsey. Like, that's fun. It's great. My problem is this going to hurt us come September? Jalen Ramsey is known for holding grudges constantly. I mean, and I'm going to revert back because that's just the earliest, because the Packers won, so the Rams were out of the playoff. With the Devontae Adams, Jalen Ramsey matchup, for literally an entire week, Packer Nation was just harping on him. Devontae Adams is a better receiver than you. He's going to cook you, all this kind of stuff. And Jalen Ramsey, same kind of stuff, was just like, yeah, whatever. Like, I'm better. Get out of here. I don't care about your memes, blah, 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 blah. And Devontae Adams won. I think he saw that and he went, okay, I'm a trash talker. I'm going to trash talk, but I have to back it up on the field. And I mean, Jalen Ramsey has never, ever not proven that he's not a top 3, top 5 corner DB in the NFL. And Darnell Mooney's young. So do I think the Bears fans took it too far? I mean, once you start getting into other teams, maybe, but I love it. I love that this is starting to turn kind of into a rivalry. I think this is 2 really large market teams, LA and Chicago. And I'm really enjoying this banter that's happening, how Darnell Mooney hasn't said a single thing. And he's already living rent free in Jalen Ramsey's head. I think that's awesome. Like, I think that is fantastic. It's really funny to me, Nick, and I want you to just speak on this before we go into our last point. It's really interesting that through most of this offseason, the end of the year for the Chicago Bears, it didn't really end great for us against the Saints. And then going into the offseason, I was like, are we going to get this guy? Are we going to get Russell, Wilson? Or now we have Andy Dalton. And then all of a sudden, we draft Justin Fields out of the University of Ohio State. All of a sudden, Bears fans with Aaron Rodgers kind of on the whim with the Packers, Bears fans are kind of cocky right now, like going into this summer. They all of a sudden just, we were kind of the battering ram this entire offseason. All of a sudden, we're kind of cocky right now. And I really missed that. I really did. I missed, an energized, excited Chicago Bears fan on social media that, will go out of their way to, talk crap to anybody because this entire offseason, it's pretty much just been whining constantly.
I love that. And I totally agree. It feels good right now. And we've said this a couple times on previous episodes. We've said this a couple times on our Instagram. Make sure to go follow that at Just Another Year Chicago. But I want to hit on that point really fast, is that Bears fans have not had this opportunity to feel this way since 2018. And I don't even think 2018, they really got to feel it because we were all in such shock how fast this team turned around. I think that 2010 was the last time that Bears fans really got to feel this sense of cockiness. Maybe 2013, that random, really hot start under Mark Trestman, and then it just went downhill because the Bears were cocky. Bears fans were cocky. And, I think that you're right. We did end on a bad note, but then the smoke kind of cleared a little bit as time went on. We didn't get Russell Wilson. Fine. We got Justin Fields. Okay. But we didn't get, a primetime defensive coordinator. We brought in a guy. We went internal and brought up a guy who can be Vic Fangio 2.0. We're getting Eddie Goldman back. We kept 90% of the defense. Unfortunately, we got rid of Kyle Fuller, but then we went out and drafted a bunch of guys, including, a stud out of Oregon, and it could potentially be the filler for that spot. We have a guy like Jalen Johnson. We have a very young team. When you look at the Bears starting roster and you see that most of the offense is under 28 years old and the defense is still in their prime, who knows? I think that this is the best time in over a decade for Bears fans, including 2018. This is a very exciting moment because Matt Nagy also has his guy. It's a young team. And in all honesty, I know on our last episode, no one really argued with the fact that the Bears could be a very good team this upcoming year. And that's coming from other fan bases as well. I said the Bears could go 12-5. You said the Bears could go 11-6, maybe 10-7. Still very impressive compared to the last couple of years because that'd be 10-6 if you take away game 17. So I am very, very excited with how Bears fans are acting right now because the players feed off this. When you're constantly roasting players, it gets in their head. Look what happened to Hakeem Nicks. He thought he was gone. Bears fans were saying, get rid of him, get rid of the cap. All of a sudden, all these rookies are fired up. David Montgomery is really fired up from getting disrespected by the NFL for not being considered a top 10 running back, top 15 running back. He wasn't even considered. So he's pissed off. Tyreek Cohen is like, this whole Bears fan base, whole team, everything has a completely different mojo. And I'm really liking it entering this upcoming season. And I love this beef. I think Jalen Ramsey is going to get roasted week 1 by whether that be Allen Robinson, whether that be Darnell Mooney. Anthony Miller is still on the roster. I know this is your next talking point, London, but I have a very, very just like confident feeling walking into the LA Rams game. Cause last year I was like, oh crap, we're definitely going to lose this game. But the good energy brings, positivity to the Bears. And I'm really liking what they're doing so far.
Yeah, yeah. I fully agree with you. So the big thing and the last thing we want to hit on here is, should the Chicago Bears Twitter, everything, should we be careful for what we're asking for in, calling these, calling players like Jalen Ramsey out, or screw it. Jalen Ramsey is going to get roasted week 1. The Chicago Bears are going to walk in there and do what the Chicago Bears did 2 years, for 2 years in a row. Last year, we'll take that as a fluke. What do you think, Nick?
I'm excited. That's all I can say is that I am so excited. I think that, it doesn't hurt us at all. It doesn't, because it's showing that the Bears aren't afraid anymore. The Bears have confidence. The Bears are the monsters of the Midway. The Bears can come out and get things done. And a lot of people are like, oh, you're losing to Cleveland in week 3, or, oh, you're losing to Baltimore. We even said that we're probably going to lose at least one of those games. But the confidence entering those games that there is still a high possibility that we're going to win is key. And when you get in the heads of elite players in today's NFL, and you show them we're not afraid of you, they're not used to that. They're used to being ESPN's, NFL.com, their big talking points. And I don't think Bears Twitter should relax. I think we should keep pushing forward, because you know what? We dealt with that for a long time with the Packers. We held our tongue. We did it with the Vikings. We've done it with everybody. We've done it with the entire NFL. And this is the time where Bears fans can with class do the same exact thing. And I think that's what they're doing right now.
Yeah, Nick. And I agree with you 100%. I think, like I said, I think this rookie class, just honestly, the more and more I watch all these videos of just Justin Fields and this rookie class that got brought in by Ryan Pace, it just breathed energy back in. And I love it. I honestly, the moment that Darnell Mooney, catches a touchdown or catches even a pass, it could be like a 3-yard bubble route. And Jalen Ramsey's lined up on the other side. Bears Twitter is going to tweak out, even if that is his only catch the rest of the game. But also, this is kind of awesome for us, in just a way of the game. Jalen Ramsey, bigger corners like him, Richard Sherman, just other guys, Stephon Gilmore, over 6-foot corners that are elite and have been elite in the NFL. The number one thing wide receiver wise that they get absolutely cooked on a constant bit, and Richard Sherman will tell you this, is little quick receivers. They'll go up against the Allen Robinsons of the world and they'll lock them down. And I do think Jalen Ramsey against Allen Robinson, they have been battling a lot. I really don't expect Jalen Ramsey, maybe other than like 1 or 2 plays, to actually cover Darnell Mooney the whole game. Like, he's going to be on Allen Robinson. They've had a really good matchup. They've, gone back and forth, but I cannot wait until that moment that Darnell Mooney and Jalen Ramsey are against each other. And it could be just a 10-yard little out route that he catches. We're going to tweak out. Jalen Ramsey is going to be considered the worst corner in the NFL. Again, even though it's not true, but being able to just have this energy in the Chicago Bears fan base is amazing. It's going to make for a hot Chicago Bears fan summer, and I'm extremely excited about it.
Speaking to that, one last comment on that. Who's he going to guard? Because he was guarding almost Allen Robinson the entire game. And then, of course, he goes on Mooney, and Mooney cooks him. So, the Rams are in an interesting position right now, because now there's going to be turmoil inside of Los Angeles locker room saying, I want to cover Mooney. I want to shut up Bears fans and stuff. And coaches are going to go, no, we need you to guard Allen Robinson, because if we leave him open, we're really in trouble.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. And also hot, an unbelievable summer ahead for Chicago Bears fans. Very excited about it. And stay tuned, as Just Another Year is currently in the process of planning in a Bears tailgate this upcoming summer at one of our local restaurants to help support the Chicagoland area and bring the economy back to businesses. Very excited about that. Dropping a little Easter egg right there. London and I are currently in conversations, and we will have more for that in the next month or two. But with that, London, thank you very much for joining in on Just Another Year Chicago. This has been a very fun episode. Ramsey, Mooney, week 1, Sunday Night Football, Bears, Rams. It's going to be exciting. Thank you very much for joining us today's episode, and we will see you guys on Friday.